Okay, it has been quite a morning so far. Oh, quite a morning. Oh. Man, welcome back everyone to the channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful one out there. Thank you so much for joining me. I guess it's not like it's bad or anything like that. Man, so usually I like to have a cup of something here, like tea or coffee, and I tried this new tea. Worst tea I've ever tried in my life. Worst tea I've ever tried in my life. And then, I don't know how, but I pulled my back. Something fierce. So, anyways. That's not what you're here for. You're here for some Wishbone Ash. We're moving on to the second side of the album. We're moving on to the next track, which is going to be Handy. Starting off this side. I know that this track and Phoenix are two of the ones that a lot of people have been asking about and looking forward to. And so, that's why I figured, well, let's just start at the top and then work our way down. So let's go ahead and do that. We're now in the down part. We'll go ahead and listen to this track. We'll talk about it a little bit after. Perhaps it's about a handyman. Let's go. Let's go. You heard that little sizzle in the back. Phenomenal bass intro into the band. Great work. Nice fill. That was quick. This is a cool jam. one of those jams where you can really pay attention to each instrument. The two guitars, the bass, the drums, and they're all so streamlined, but subtly approaching this in their own way, which is really nice. How the bass connects everything here. There's a little aggression. Love how that aggression is hinted in the bass, more rapturous, you know? But still keeping a mellow flavor. Starts to swing in you. This is putting everything on the table. Fills are getting in there now. Kind of sing-songy. Big. Everyone jumps on this. Oh, they're speeding up. Getting those rudiments down. Or maybe it's just single stroking. Into a shuffle.
Sat down by my fire. Hear a voice of desire. Oh, to be friends again. I keep telling my she's on your pain and I'm feeding my scene. She don't fit in my world no more. But the bell says to stay and keep knocking on my door.
Just straight into a bluesy shuffle.
But she's gone away, kicking the thoughts around the floor.
That's interesting. That transition is different. Are you focused now? Ain't no taste Van Leer. Well, Handy definitely ended a little differently than I was expecting from everything that was happening before. Let's talk about this, though. To me, this is Martin Turner's song. The bass, obviously from the beginning until the very end, until the very, very end, is to me leading the charge in this whole track. And I'm sure that you could, of course, make an argument for, everyone else. You can make an argument for Powell and Upton. Like, you could, sure. But I'm just focused on Turner because I love how the intro, I like how the song is structured most of the way through. I love the intro of the bass and how it's so slowly built up. Nothing, at least sounding-wise, overly complicated being played, but it's just a nice build-up, a gentle, kind of soft way of bringing us in. And then you hear, what I can only imagine is Upton, step on the hi-hat, right? Like he steps on it, and you hear that little shh. You hear that little cymbal, the two cymbals touching each other. And oh, something's coming. I don't know quite what. And the band doesn't give you a lot of time to think about it. Because before you know it, everyone comes in. And it's one of those glorious full band entering into the room kind of moments with, now the guitar is taking over. And still, at that particular part, Turner is still continuing on from the ambience that he had built and the rhythm that he had put down. And the band takes place in this kind of slow jam. And I like that kind of sound where it's slow and soft, but at the same time, it's very powerful. The notes and the melodies are just flying off the pages, and it sounds really, really good. There's a very subtle intensity to it. If I had to compare, I would compare it to Pink Floyd in some ways, or Camel, with the guitar and everything. That's just the feeling that this gives me. And then, which is wonderfully played, and like I said during the track. You could really listen to each of the members, from the double guitars to obviously the bass and the drums. And you could really get a great feel for what they're doing and how they're playing in the room together. And then you get a little section, a midsection, where once again we have a bass solo. And this time, while playing in a similar fashion to the beginning, it's not quite as slow. It's not quite as gentle. It's not aggressive, but there is a little bit more of a rapidity to it. There's a little bit more of an attitude to it. And it's pretty predictable to an extent. Okay, well, the bass solo is playing a little more, tempestuous. So, obviously when the music comes back in, it's going to follow that lead. And it does. But I really, once again, like how in control the band is of the mood. You know, even when this, you know, maybe I can find it really quick. Maybe I can do this better if I just play, right? Okay, first bass solo, you know, it's, gets you moving, but it's relatively gentle for the most part. And when it moves into the music, it's that powerful subtlety, kind of just, you know, let your mind ride with the music. The second time it happens, if I can find it quick enough, I'm skipping, right? Very, very similar to the first. But it just feels like now where he's expanding out of the notes and out of the range he was playing before, and kind of exploring the room a little bit more of the bass. And this time, once again when the music comes back, now there's that aggression that comes out, while at the same time still not going to such a heavy direction, you know? I really like how those four parts, the bass solo, the verse, the bass solo, the second verse, instrumentally, I like how those play with the atmosphere and expand upon the theme that they've established. And I didn't really get into it, but obviously the guitar playing is out of this world. I love how the first part is so melodic and yet so powerful, and the second part it's a little shreddier, taking that cheese and just, you know, grating it. I will, however, say the final part, I think it kind of kills the mood, and I do think it kind of comes out of nowhere. If I can be honest with you, I do think when it gets into that jazzy shuffle, it kind of loses some of that melodic impact it had before. Not to say it sounded bad. And by the way, the transition with the drum solo, I love that. I like how the solos in here, actually, let me take back what I'm about to say. I like how the bass solo and the drum solo, and speaking of the drum solo now, I like how they're not so show-offy. They make sense within the music. I love what Upton's doing there on the drums. I like how he's, you know, putting down a constant kick, how he gets into a little speed up, and that changes at one point and at the end into a shuffle. Like, I think that sounds really cool. What he's playing there, right? You know, but even before the shuffle, I love how this part is built up. You know, if I had control, I would have loved for that to go into one final climactic instrumental. And I guess what I'm getting to is the last part feels a little tacked on to me, and it doesn't make sense to me within what was established for the previous 9 minutes, basically. It feels like a 2-minute outtake. It feels like that feels like it could have been a 2-minute bonus track on an expanded edition of their debut album. Whereas it doesn't feel like it connects with everything that had been so well connected before in this particular track. Am I nitpicking? A little bit, but it's how I feel. Lyrics, there's really not much to look at it with this one. We sat down by my fire, hear a voice of desire, want to be friends again. I keep telling you, man, she's only a pain. She don't fit in my scene, she don't fit in my world no more. And the best has to stay. Keep knocking on my door, she's gone away. We're kicking the thoughts around the floor. So, no, she's not part of your life anymore, and that's okay. You're going to move on, do your thing. Not quite sure where the title of Handy comes in from that, to be honest, but I don't really care too much. I don't really care where the name came from. 90% of this song was really, really good. The last 10%, I wouldn't... It's not that I disliked it. I just don't think it matches what was done before. I think, like I said, that final 2 minutes or whatever could have just easily been another track, maybe at the end of the album, for the band to kind of have some fun and kind of go on and do their little blues thing, you know, because it sounded good what they did, the scatting and stuff, you know. Yeah, it's fun. It has its place. I just don't think in this track. That's me. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. You can follow me over on Twitter, support the channel on Patreon. Thank you so much as always for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I hope to see you all then. Bye, guys. Did you guys hear me drinking? Slurping my thing? That was probably so loud. Sorry.